एक मिनट नवनीत जी बस। हाँ जी सर, ऑफिशियल शुरू कर रहे हैं। आई अश्विनी जिंदल ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ वॉइस ऑफ सीए एंड shortly named as VOCA and Chartered Accountant Association welcome you all on this webinar on Australian work opportunities for Indian chartered accountants while sitting at home or if you move to Australia, so that you can grab the opportunity in your field in the first instance. हम सबसे पहले मैं वेलकम करूंगा नवनीत ज्योति जी का, ऑस्ट्रेलिया से। हमारे इंडियन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, ही हैज बीन द पास्ट चेयरमैन of the Jalandhar branch in the year 2004-5, and now he has migrated 20 years back to Australia, and there he is practicing as a chartered accountant, having the 20 years experience in Australian accounting and experience in business restructuring, business valuation, mediation, and due diligence, business performance analysis, etc. at Australia. Indian experience अगर ऐड कर दें, it must be more than 35 or 40 years, 35 years. This is the Australian experience I have told you. Then Sakshi Vadva. Sakshi Vadva, she is qualified in 2017. लेकिन चाहे इनको 9 years हुए हैं, but she is dealing in Australian accounting. She has associated with Navneet ji, and she is doing Australian accounting and taxation from the last 9 years, having the vast knowledge of zero certificate and zero accounting, and handling the work there for medium and small enterprises in Australia. तो बेसिकली मैं आपको जैसे बताया कि हमने जो ये मेथड रखा है, इसमें हम काफी इनिशिएटिव आने वाले टाइम में, आज हमने एक्सक्लूसिव इस प्रोग्राम को ऑस्ट्रेलिया का प्रोग्राम बना दिया। आने वाले टाइम में वी विल ट्राई फॉर कनाडा, यूएसए, यूके एज वेल एज यूएई, सो दैट हमारे ऋषभ अग्रवाल, वो इसके फैकल्टी हैं जो इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन के एक्सपर्ट हैं, उनका भी हम यूएई अपॉर्चुनिटीज के ऊपर भी प्रोग्राम कराएंगे। तो उसके लिए वैसे तो 99.99% लोग थ्रू व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप रूट आए हैं जो हमने ओपन किया था। अगर बाद में मैंने रजिस्ट्रेशन ओपन कर दी है, तो अगर कोई डायरेक्ट रूट से आए हैं, मेरी उनको रिक्वेस्ट है कि वो हमारा व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप जरूर ज्वाइन करें, क्योंकि फ्यूचर की जितनी भी अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं आपको व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में आएंगी। जैसे मैंने अपने लास्ट मैसेज में लिखा भी है कि क्या चाहे तो वो एक्सेस टू फ्यूचर प्रोग्राम हो फॉर कनाडा, यूएसए, यूएई वर्क अपॉर्चुनिटीज, चाहे वो नेटवर्किंग विद इंडियन सीएस प्रैक्टिसिंग अब्रॉड फॉर पोटेंशियल कोलैबोरेशन, फिर चाहे एक्सक्लूसिव जॉब प्लेसमेंट हो फॉर रिमोट वर्क टेलर्ड टू योर स्किल्स बाय ऑस्ट्रेलियन और अदर कंट्रीज इंडियन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स और फॉरेन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, चाहे वो अपडेट्स ऑन एडवांस कोर्सेज फॉर फॉरेन अकाउंटिंग एंड ऑडिटिंग टूल्स लाइक जीरो, क्विकबुक एंड अदर ऑडिटिंग टूल में भी केसवेयर एटसेट्रा, उसके बारे में हो। ये सभी चीजें आपको ग्रुप के माध्यम से ही पता चलेंगी। और मैं एक डिस्क्लेमर भी यहाँ पे देना चाहता हूँ कि वी आर जस्ट अपस्किलिंग योर नॉलेज अबाउट द फॉरेन अकाउंटिंग। वी आर नॉट गारंटी यू कि आपको जॉब मिल जाएगी। हमारा पर्पज यही है कि आप इस प्रोग्राम को अटेंड करने के बाद अपने जितने भी फ्रेंड्स, रिलेटिव्स जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया, कनाडा, यूए, यूके में हैं, उनके साथ कोऑर्डिनेट करके आप वहां से काम ले सकें। और आप लर्निंग लेने के बाद अगर फॉरेन कंट्री मूव करते हैं, तो आपको वहां पे जाके इमीडिएटली अपने फील्ड में जॉब मिल सके। हमारा पर्पस इतना ही है। लेकिन इसके अलावा भी हम ट्राई करेंगे, जैसे लास्ट टाइम हमने 3 years बैक प्रोग्राम किया था, उसमें इन डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स अबाउट 30 to 50 पार्टिसिपेंट्स डायरेक्टली एंगेज हुए उनके साथ फॉर वर्क फ्रॉम होम, और इनडायरेक्टली बेनिफिट तो बहुत लोगों को हुआ जिन्होंने अपने सोर्स से भी काम ढूंढा, एंड दे हैव सेट अप द ऑस्ट्रेलियन फॉरेन अकाउंटिंग वर्क वाइल सिटिंग इन इंडिया। तो ज्यादा टाइम मैं इन चीजों में ना लेते हुए मैं अब रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा हमारे जो आज का जो सेशन है, ये एक जो कहते हैं ना मोटिवेशनल सेशन, मोटिवेशनल कम अपस्किलिंग सेशन है, जो हमने डिजाइन किया है कि आपको आइडिया ब्रोडर हो सके कि आपने कैसे अकाउंटिंग करनी है, क्या सॉफ्टवेयर चलते हैं, मोड क्या है, मॉड्यूल्स क्या हैं, ये सारा कुछ आपको नवनीत जी बताएंगे। उसके बाद फिर हम और भी आने वाले फ्यूचर में आपके लिए डिटेल्ड कोर्स, एडवांस कोर्स वो लॉन्च करते रहेंगे। उसको हमने आज तक ये सर्विस दी है सीए प्रोफेशनल्स को और उसका कुछ चार्ज नहीं किया, एंड आई एश्योर यू कि जब तक हम ये करते रहेंगे हम कभी चार्ज नहीं करेंगे। लेकिन अगर कोई फैकल्टी स्पेसिफिक प्रोग्राम होगा, उसके कोई चार्जेस होंगे फैकल्टी की तरफ से, वो भी हम आपको इन फ्यूचर बताते रहेंगे प्रोग्रामों में। जिसका इंटरेस्ट होगा वो उसमें ज्वाइन कर सकता है, अदरवाइज फ्री वाले प्रोग्राम तो हमारे एंड से चलते रहेंगे। आई नाउ रिक्वेस्ट we have divided this session, this program in two session. फर्स्ट बाई नवनीत ज्योति जी फ्रॉम ऑस्ट्रेलिया, क्योंकि वहां पे 4-5 घंटे का फर्क है, तो ये अपने डेलीब्रेशन के बाद अर्ली छोड़ सकेंगे आपके क्वेश्चन आंसर लेने के बाद। और देन साक्षी जी, ओवर टू नवनीत जी।
Ashwini, thank you very much for organizing this wonderful webinar for our young fellows in India. Can you hear me properly? Is that okay?
Yes sir, yes yes।
Okay. So, I think since 2020, what I've heard that a lot of people, lot of our members from India are engaged in providing jobs to Australian accounting firms, whether directly employed by firms and sometimes employed directly with the corporates as well. So the number has been increasing rapidly, and this is only because there's a lot of hype in India about Australian accounting firms, Australian opportunities especially. And I think our members have lived up to the expectations of Australian accounting firms, considering it's quite rigorous and strenuous in terms of compliance, and our members have done great job. Today's Ashwini, if you can hear me, can you ask only one or two participants what is their expectation of from today's seminar so that I can focus on those areas? Otherwise, I got presentation to present, but that's fine. If they can tell what is their expectation, what do they really, what's their uh, aim to learn from this webinar so that I can focus on those areas.
हाँ जी अमन जी, आपको अनम्यूट किया है, आप बताइए। आपने हैंड रेज किया है अमन जी, अमन गर्ग।
Good afternoon, sir.
हाँ जी।
So I am audible?
यस यस।
Yes, yes.
Yes. Nandini sir, good afternoon. Sakshi ma'am, good afternoon.
Good
मैम
afternoon.
बेसिकली आज का जो सेशन हम लगा रहे हैं, मतलब बेसिकली ये है कि हम फॉरेन अकाउंटिंग करना चाहते हैं, मतलब
हाँ,
इंडिया में बैठ के बेसिकली कि हमने ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लॉज कैसे सीखे, मतलब उसका सोर्स क्या होगा कि
okay.
अगर हमने अपने ऑफिस में बैठ के अकाउंटिंग स्टार्ट करनी है तो हम उसका जरिया कैसे होगा कि हम किसको अप्रोच करें, किस
Okay.
सीपी से टाई अप करें
Mm,
बेसिकली।
Okay,
तो सर बेसिकली ये है सर हमारा।
that's fine. Next one, Ashwini.
नेक्स्ट सौरभ बंसल।
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to everybody. I just wanted to know, I am a new practicing chartered accountant, so just wanted to explore the opportunities ki how to start and how to take things to the foreign level na.
Okay, that's one. Next, Ashwini, they're basically
शाइना
same
शाइना
question.
मदान, लीनू शर्मा, अदिबा भानो।
Okay, so hello sir. First of all, thank you so much for allowing me. I'm also a practicing chartered accountant, and recently I started my practice. I have shifted from a US-based MNC to practice recently, 2 months ago. The main purpose I am joining this session is only that I want to explore the opportunities of a CA practice in outsourcing areas, like in US accounting, in Australian accounting, and all. How we can go in this direction, what is the approach we should consider, what is the pathway, softwares, obviously, as you mentioned, zero QuickBooks and all. This is something we already know through YouTube and all, but I want a good guidance, because nothing is available over YouTube or somewhere. It is just all going like go to some upskill or some freelancing websites and avail work from there only, and everyone is doing in that way. So I just want
Okay,
guidance
Ashni.
on that.
Okay,
ओके
Deepak,
जी,
that's
ओके
fine.
उपासना,
We can take two
Hello,
more
sir.
views and then we
यस
start.
यस, उपासना, शाइना एंड लीना, लीनू, और आप तीनों के अनम्यूट हैं, आप जिनमें से जल्दी पूछ लीजिए फिर।
हेलो सर। सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि हम डायरेक्टली सीपीए फर्म्स को कैसे अप्रोच कर सकते हैं आउटसोर्सिंग वर्क लेने के लिए। प्लस जब हम उनको अप्रोच करते हैं तो कई बार उनके कुछ सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न्स होते हैं, आईटी कंसर्न्स और कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी को लेकर डाटा को, उसके रिगार्डिंग वो हमें पूछते हैं कि आपका सेटअप कैसा है। उस
Okay.
डायरेक्शन में मैं उनको क्या रिप्लाई करूं और मुझे अपना आईटी स्ट्रक्चर कैसा बनाना होगा कि उनके सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न्स पूरे हो सके।
Okay, good. Next one. I think that's more than enough. Ashni, you are mute.
हाँ जी सर, ओवर टू यू। अब मैंने
Yes.
वो कर दी है,
Okay.
परमिशन ब्लॉक।
Thank you once again, Ashni. So all these four questions, the first three especially, Aman, Saurabh, and Adiba, their questions are exactly similar, that how to start. And the fourth one, the girl Upasna, she asked about the IT issues and a couple of other things. I will address all these things later on. But let's start the formal presentation. We are running a bit behind in the schedule. So Ashwini, can you see my screen?
यस यस सर।
Okay. So I will go through first of all the overall landscape of our Australian accounting industry.
यस यस।
There are basically three accounting bodies. Some of this knowledge may not be useful to you, but it enhances your overall perspective of how we operate here, what are the regulatory bodies, who plays what role at a regulation level, and things like that. So basically, there are three main accounting bodies in Australia. One is our CA, which is we call CA ANZ, because New Zealand is also part of our CA Australia body. Second one is CPA, and the third one is IPA, Institute of Public Accountants. Now, CA and CPA are quite tough courses, whereas Institute of Public Accounting membership is not that hard. Even people with bachelor's degree and maybe master's degree, bit of an experience, they can join as IPA, whereas CA and CPA are, as you know, they are pretty hard courses. CPA is very popular, whereas CA is little bit harder than CPA, but CPA's membership is more than CA. And I have heard that CPA, they have some liaison center in Delhi also, where they conduct some seminars and a few other things. So you can also contact them if you want to do CPA Australia. As far as the regulation is concerned, we have like we have income tax office in India. We got, it's called ATO, Australian Taxation Office. The Australian tax office operates at a federal level, unless some USA states, which is that many states operate at a income tax at a state level. But in Australia, we operate like India. It's a federal legislation applicable to the whole country. The main legislations they cover is Income Tax Act, Goods and Services Tax Act, and Fringe Benefits Tax. They also do they also manage the business registration through, it's called ABN number, like Australian business number. So whenever you want to start any business in Australia, you have to have a ABN, and then you have to have a tax file number. So you need two things. Uh, Tax file number is a confidential thing, and ABN is a publicly available information, so that other people can also check whether you are registered for GST, whether you got some other registrations, and how long you have been in the business, and so on and so on. Then there are some state level legislations. One is Payroll Tax Act. So what happens, payroll tax is a very weird kind of a tax in Australia. For example, in Victoria, if any employer pays more than $900,000 of wages, then they got to pay payroll tax also at the rate of 4.85%. It's like penalizing the bigger employer, but that's how it is. Another state level tax is called stamp duty, which is pretty, you know, it, from the name you can see what it is. So most of the property transactions attract stamp duty at the rate of about around 6.5%, and it starts at 1.4, but then it goes to 6.5%, averages out to about 5%. Then we have something called land tax. I don't know whether we have land tax in India or not. So land tax is like if you own a property on the 31st December night, then you will pay land tax to the state government. It's about 0.5% of the land value. So these three things mainly, you will be dealing with these three things when you do Australian accounting. So this is how I thought you should know that. Like ROC in India, we have Australian Securities and Investments Commission, which manages the registration of companies. It also manages financial services. So all the credit providers, lending services, they have to have registration with ASIC. Then it also manages consumer credit system, all the master franchisers, their code of conduct. This is also part of ASIC. ASIC also governs the registration of business names. So while you register the company with ASIC and you register the business number with ATO, but there's a third thing called business name. So business name has to be registered with ASIC. Business name is different from the name which you got legally. So business name can be entirely different. So your company name can be XYZ PTYLD, but your business name can be McDonald. Then ASIC also manages registered company auditors and SMSF auditors. The full form of SMSF, the next part anyway, is self-managed super fund. Self-managed super fund, as the name suggests, is a mechanism where the members of the super fund, they can manage their own superannuation thing. Like in India, we have gratuity stuff we call superannuation here, and superannuation can be managed by the industry super funds, or you can manage yourself. So the Australian regulatory bodies, the whole ecosystem allows you to manage your super fund yourself. Of course, there are a lot of checks and balances, like in the form that it needs to be audited, and you can't have transactions with your own related parties and stuff like that. And but by and large, you manage yourself. Wherever you want to invest, you can do that. Whether you invest in property, whether you invest in shares, you got complete discretion and control of whatever you do. And just for your knowledge, there's about 1.1 million members and about 600,000 super funds, self-managed super funds in Australia. And basically, their husband, wife, or sometimes the children can also be there. And the total superannuation industry is about $4 trillion here, and roughly 25% of that, which is close to 1 trillion, is self-managed super funds. So if you look at the population of Australia, which is approximately 27 million, and out of 27 million, you can now see, uh, if you exclude the newborn babies or young children, you will be probably left with 20 odd million people, and then you got nearly $4 trillion invested in superannuation system. So you can work out the numbers. I think it should be $200,000 if I'm not wrong, per person in Australia. That's how the big pool, the big money is in the country. So that's in the superannuation. So if any accountant wants to be expert of Australian accounting, he or she must know what is superannuation here. Very important part of our accounting and tax system here. Financial products, shares, very well. Managed funds, we call mutual funds there, and we call managed funds here. CFD, contracts for differences trading, is again very popular, especially in the FX markets. There are a few platforms you can create account with, and then you can start trading on foreign exchange. And in the last 5 years or so, cryptocurrency trading has become very, 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 very popular. So if we do 10 individual tax returns, probably three or four, nearly 40% tax returns will have something related to crypto, which is huge number of individuals. Considering, I think about 15 million individual tax returns are there, so probably more than more than probably 7 or 8 million people are trading in crypto. So that's a large number. In the financial planning side, we have superannuation, as I told you, and then life insurance. You can also do your life insurance through your superannuation. So when you open your superannuation account, uh, $50,000 is the default life insurance option. Income protection is very popular in Australia. And then TPD, which is total permanent disability, and trauma insurance are also very, very important. Business structure, there are four types of different structures where you can do the business. Number one, obvious, sole trader, and number two, partnership. So in partnership, what happens, whatever is the income of the partnership, it flows down to the individuals. It flows down to the partners of the partnership. So nothing is taxable in partnership. Then we have company. Corporate tax rate is 30%. But for the small companies is 25%. And the small companies in Australia, by definition of this tax rate, is 50 million turnover. It's a lot of turnover. So pretty much most of the small businesses would pay 25% corporate tax rate. Then we have trusts. Obviously, we have two types of trust: unit trust, which is pretty much like a company. And then we have discretionary unit trust. Discretionary family trust. Now, trust, as you can see, has not been used as a business vehicle in any of the countries except Australia. So if you see the accounting or tax system of US, UK, or Japan or China, there is nothing called trust as a business vehicle. But in Australia, it is very, very popular. So you got to understand what are trusts. So I'll just quickly go through family trust, which are very, very popular here. So in family trust, what happens? Husband and wife generally form a trust with a corporate trustee, with a company trustee. And then there will be major beneficiaries of the trust. Means whatever is the income of the company, income of the trust, net income, the trustee of the trust has discretion to distribute wherever he likes. Now, trustee is company, but the directors of the trustee company are the individuals behind it. So, in nutshell, husband and wife, they got full discretion. Where do they land? Where do they park the profits of the trust? Now, in company, what happens? It's a requirement and flexibility component is not that high. considering if you pay wages, you got to pay the taxes straight away, and the element of maneuverability is not very high. But in trust, what happens, because everything is likely to be decided by end of the year, then you have great flexibility. You can maneuver around your profits and parking of the profits in wherever you like. So this is why it is very, very popular here. So I think this asset protection is very, very important here. Considering one of the states in Australia, New South Wales, is the second most litigated state in the world after one state in US. So everyone, it means that everyone has sued someone or has been sued by someone else. Let's put it that way. The percentage is too high. That is why when you do business, and in the business, if you have significant amount of assets, it is very important that you protect your assets. So when you protect your assets, and if you are having multiple businesses, then you need to understand how do you quarantine, how do you stop risks of one business spilling over, going into, falling into the other business. And then you obviously can have appropriate mixes of insurance, which is the next slide, hopefully. So because this is very, very regulated country, very methodical people here, so that is why the types of insurance is very huge here. For every little thing we have insurance here. I will specifically cover two. Public liability is very common. PAI is very common too. But work cover, you should know work cover very well. Now, what is work cover? Is like a worker injury insurance in short. So what happens, whatever wages you pay to the employees, the total of that, and then depending upon which industry you are in, certain percentage of that wages, say between 2 to 5%, will go to the insurance pool called work cover insurance. And if your worker gets injured, up to 2 years, the wages will be reimbursed by the insurance company. So you pay the wages to the worker as normal, but you get paid back from the work cover insurance company. 95% of the wages can be paid up to 2 years. If it is more than 2 years, then it's likely to be permanent disability and it goes to some other claim. Now, as far as employment is concerned, there are few things which we need to understand. In Australia, we have something called award wages. So what they have done, they have divided the whole workforce into different categories. Workforce means based on their type of the industry they are working in. For example, if someone is working in a factory with chemicals manufacturing, it can have different award. If someone is working in, say, retail shop, uh, like D-Mart in India, it can be different award. If someone working in McDonald's, it can be different award. So there are, I think, about 100 odd awards. I don't remember exactly. And then there are EBAs called Enterprise Bargaining Agreements, which is over and above award wages. So award wages ensure that whatever is the minimum wages in the awards, you got to pay that. And this award wages are quite a complicated document to understand, because if the employment is subject to shifts, then there will be something called penalty rates. And if your worker is of a different level of skill, for example, he can supervise 3 persons, then he will be paid some extra, like a level 2 rate. If he can manage 6 people, probably he can be paid little bit more, level 3 employee. So on and so on. Then if someone can handle like say 20 people, then he becomes a supervisor or a manager, then he's probably level 4 employee, so on and things like that. So you got to understand that. And then the payment has to be made in hourly rate or a piece rate. So as the name suggests, piece rate is so for example, if you're packing something, if you pack 10 like boxes, so per box rate you will be given. Or hourly is very simple, that per hour you will be paid that much. uh, as far as the types of employment is, we have either permanent or part-time. Permanent is someone, we have 38 hours of work, and then uh, for 38 hours of work, we got 4 weeks of annual leave, 2 weeks of sick leave, and then roughly 10 or 11 public holidays depending on which state you are in. So that roughly works out to be about 8 weeks of holiday if you take whole 2 weeks of sick leave. So that effectively means 44 weeks of employment. Then we have part-time. Part-time is pretty much same as permanent, except the number of hours could be 20 or 12 or 26, whatever. All the rights, obligations remain same. The second employment, very, very common here, is casual. So employer is not sure whether he got, stable job, so he will offer a casual role to someone. And then in the casual, because the flexibility at the employer's hand is that he can fire the employee, sack the employee at any point of time, even at a 1 day notice. So that is the beauty of casuals. But casuals get 25% extra wages on top of the full-time employee rate. But the casuals will not get sick leave or annual leave or public holiday. So but they get 25% extra. And if your annual, those 8 weeks of, if you compare 8 weeks versus 44, that's about 18% extra. And then casuals is about 25% extra. So they have balanced out the things at a conceptual level. uh, Employee obligations as an employer, which you need to understand. First of all, as an employer, now when I say as an employer, now you will be working uh, as an accountant for, let's say, a corporate or an accounting firm. There are only two possibilities, and I will cover those couple of questions later. So when you think from employer's perspective, I mean, obviously, you will not be working for employee. So always you got to think, you step into employer's shoes. Then first of all, you have to have employment contract. And then all the employees have to give you a declaration called TFN, means tax file number here. TFN declaration. In that declaration, there are few things like what is the number of tax file number and date of birth, address, and phone number, and couple of other things. And then employee has to give you a superannuation choice form. As I said, superannuation is mandatory, is 11% here. And then superannuation choice form and then TFN declaration form. As an employer, you collect these two documents at the start of the employment, because these two documents will be used in setting up couple of things. Then you need to identify the appropriate award rate based on your industry. Then you got to set up that employee in the payroll software we call STP compliant software. STP full form is single touch payroll. I'll explain later. Sakshi will go in detail later. So you set that employee in the software, and then you, as an employee, you need to establish a what you call superannuation account called default superfund account. So default superfund means if employee does not give you the superannuation account, because he may not have superannuation account, means could be possible that it is his first employment, and it is possible that he or she doesn't have any superannuation account. So then you need to have a what you call default employer super fund account. So in that fund, you will deposit his superannuation, and you got to collect the timesheet. Now it's now the timesheet. Now we got very advanced softwares here. So in that softwares, there's an option as an employee when you log in, there's a timesheet module also of the software. So you can employee can fill his timesheet in the software, and then there's an option by the manager of the employer to approve that timesheet. Based on that timesheet, you got to do the pay run, and then do the pay run, and then issue the pay slips. That's the first thing as an employer you got to do. Now, when I say as an employer, I'm repeating once more that I mean, as an accountant or payroll manager, you got to do these things, right? So you got to do the pay run based on the timesheet you have been provided or it's in the software, and you got to issue the pay slips. The next thing which is important is after doing the pay run, you got to lodge this pay run with the tax office. It's called lodge pay event. So every pay run in Australia is called pay event, and then you have an option in the software, whichever software you're using. You can generate a file called ABA file, because now you got to pay the employee, and then let's say you got 10 different employees, and then obviously they have different accounts. You will not be transferring, or your employer will not be transferring the wages manually. So you just need one, at the click of a mouse, he can transfer the money to all the 10 or 20 odd people. So this is the beauty of ABA file. You can generate a file from the whatever accounting software you use. You import that file into the internet banking of your bank, and then you pay. After that, depending upon quarterly or monthly, you got to deposit your superannuation with a clearinghouse. We have a concept called clearinghouse here because one of your employee may be having superannuation account with a super fund. Your second employee may be having superannuation account with B super fund, so on and so on. So how do you deposit all the superannuation to different accounts? So we got a concept called clearinghouse. So in the clearing, we got to deposit all the money, whatever is the superannuation entitlement, to the clearinghouse, and then clearinghouse transfers all those monies belonging to the employees' individual superannuation funds. This can be done monthly or this can be done quarterly, but not any other option. Another thing, as an employer, for the payroll, you got to do is deposit your tax withholding of the employees. So when you pay wages to the employee, depending upon their PAYG withholding, which is based on the tax tables published by Australian Taxation Office, so you got to withhold that tax. Whatever tax you withhold of all the employees put together, that's called PAYG withholding. So you got to deposit that money with the tax office, either on quarterly or monthly basis. And then after the end of the year, you got to finalize the STP. So as I said, see this is an individual pay event. So for example, if it's a fortnightly pay run, there may be 26 or sometimes it can be 27 pay runs in a year. Now, after 30 June 24 or 25 next year, so you got to make sure that your wages are reconciling. There's no differences in the bank transfers and the pay runs you have done. Once you're happy with your pay runs then you need to lodge this. It's called final event. So when this event is done, then this information is percolated, is transferred individually to the employee's tax account. So the employee goes to his accountant and then he can see how many wages she has earned in a year and then how much is the tax withholding. As far as ATO compliance is concerned, we have the main thing which you will be doing very, very regularly, almost on a daily basis, is called business activity statement. We call it BAS, short form. Again, as I said, it can be quarterly or it can be monthly. The main components of the BAS are four components. There's a fifth one I have excluded deliberately. It's not very relevant for our discussion. So one is GST, one is PAYG withholding, as I said, on the wages, which tax which you withhold. Third one is PAYG installment. It's PAYG installment is nothing but advanced tax in India. So whatever tax your company has paid, let's say in 2023, based on that, you got to pay advanced tax on quarterly basis in current financial year. So for example, if the tax liability was $10,000 divided by 4, 2,500 per quarter, maybe another $50-$60 for the inflation, effect, you got to pay that as an installment. Now, as an accountant, you have option to vary that, and it's very easy. Takes 2 minutes to vary that, depending upon circumstances of the client. The fourth thing which is part of the BAS is fuel tax credit. So what happens here? When any business uses any fuel, like mainly I'm talking diesel and petrol, there are other fuels as well, like liquefied natural gas and some other blended fuels, and there are like 20 different types of fuels, but let's concentrate on petrol and diesel. So if a business uses fuel for equipment, then that business will be getting say 50 cents per liter as a credit. So the mechanism which Australia has set is very beautiful in the sense that if you are using fuel for your private purposes, that fuel should be, let's say, $2 per liter. But if you are using fuel for the business, then it should be a little bit less, considering you are generating something for the economy. So that is why the government is rewarding you. And in fuel tax credit, there's a thing called uh, on-road use of vehicles and in-house use of the fuel. In-house use is primarily 50 cents, and if you're plying heavy vehicle like buses and trucks on the road, it's generally 20 cents. So there are, at the end of the year, there will be superannuation return for the super fund, self-managed super fund especially, which you need to submit with the ATO. The second is the most important, income tax return, and the third one is FBT. For the FBT is the time limit. The time is actually calendar. The year is 1 April to 31st March. Even if the financial year is here 1 July to 30 June, that is a little bit inconsistent. Income tax return, again, sole trader tax return, like an individual tax return or partnership tax return, and trust tax return or company tax return. Accounting software, as far as journey is concerned, before 90s, obviously there's no software, all manual, handwritten. 90s, Myob, mind your own business. I think it was Canadian originally. 2000 QuickBooks, American originally, I think. 2006, Zero, the Rod Drury started Zero company in New Zealand in 2006. But then 2009 they expanded to Australia, and then slowly other countries. And someone told me they now have, I think their presence is more than 150 countries. It's unbelievable. Their Zero is popular in more than 150 countries. I can't believe that. But that's what people say. That's what Zero company says. We are selling software in 100 odd countries. There are other softwares like Reckon, Sage, Cashflow Manager, but they are not very popular. The major players are Zero, Myob, and QuickBooks. If you really want to learn, want to do something in Australian accounting, you must know Zero. That's an absolute necessity. And then if second software you need to learn is QuickBooks Online. Okay. Now in here, I think 90% of the accounting firms are using cloud accounting softwares. So we have very few accounting firms. They use servers and desktop versions, CD based softwares or things like that. Most of the people I have heard and whatever we know is cloud accounting softwares, and obviously Zero is leader in that market space. So when you think of your potential role to do something in this space, what are the tasks important which you will be doing in cloud accounting? So linking of bank feed. So what happens in the software? You got to tell the software, okay, yeah, I got 3 bank accounts: Punjab National Bank, State Bank of India, and maybe Canara Bank. So these are the 3 banks. And then what Zero does, Zero will link, Zero will get automatically every night at I think 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. They get the data of the previous day till whatever happened till 12 night, 12 night. They get all the transactions in their software. And then in the morning when you get up here, then you can see all the transactions. So yesterday you spent $60 for the fuel, or you bought a stationery, you bought something else, you got money from someone, you can see in the Zero. You don't have to do any manual thing. It's all automatic. And then you got to obviously set up your suppliers from where you will be buying your goods or services. Uh, then you need to set up your customers. It's basically both of them are put together. They're called contacts in Zero. And then you got to set up your products and services. And so that when you make invoice, it automatically comes up, and you can set up their prices also. Then you got to do invoicing, and then do the payroll, as I said. And then after that, when the software is up and running on a daily basis, you can do allocation of income and expenses. So whatever money has been spent, you can put it to write code. And then Zero is very smart. It's very high AI based software. So if you tell once that, okay, uh, I spend, let's say, $30 here, right? Next day, if you spend some money at the same place, let's say Bharat Petroleum or Indian Oil, it knows that when you go to Indian Oil, you spend money on the fuel. It will suggest you, do you want me to put that money into that? So it will, Sakshi will go through in detail later on. Then you got to match invoices, and then you have internal bank transfers. Zero or QuickBooks Online, they have option to prepare BAS, and then you can actually lodge the BAS also directly out of the software. You don't need to import or export or into any other software or things like that. You can simply lodge through Zero. But before you do that, there are some other technical aspects of lodgement like MyGov ID and all those things. When you go into this line, then you will understand. Once it is set up, it's a 5-minute job. And you got to maintain fixed assets register so that you have all the record of when did you buy the equipment, or if you sold something. The last part, which is very very important, is the reporting. So based on whatever money has been spent, whatever money has been earned, you can actually generate a lot of reports, whether the reports relate to payroll, whether it relates to taxes, income or expenses. It's all in the reporting section. So you got to learn that. Finally, if you really want to succeed in Australian market, punctuality is very very important here. Sometimes we are very casual. Okay, 7 o'clock means 7:05. No, not here. 7 o'clock in Australia means 6:55 actually, 5 minutes before, not 5 minutes late. And people appreciate your punctuality very much. And if you are late, that the other person thinks that you're not serious enough. So please make sure that when you're dealing with someone here, you're 2 minutes before rather than 2 minutes late. Understand before you act. It's very important. If you don't understand, ask twice. Whosoever is your employer or manager, ask him 10 times before you assume anything, and then make your own guesses and then do something wrong. Pay attention to detail, very very important. Little things are very important. As I said, do not assume anything. Understand it properly, and you will understand it only when you pay attention to little things, right? Not only the bigger things, but even the little things. Apart from Zero and QuickBooks, if there's anything I want to suggest you really need to master and get expertise, is Excel and Outlook. uh, I didn't want to say that, but I have seen a lot of people in India, their Excel skills are not very good. Even in Australia, people are not very good. But generally, in accounting space, we assume and expect that the people have good Excel skills. And I remember a few years ago when interviewing someone, I took a test and then I asked them that, these are the things how do you do that in Excel? And then they were simply typing. They even didn't know how the sum formula. So I said, how can you be, thinking like, you can be an accounting, working as an accountant? I mean, that's 7, 8 years ago. Things have obviously changed. A lot of people know Excel, but as an accountant, you need to be very good at that. It's not simply Excel. Like there's probably everyone who knows Excel, but how good you know that, this is important. And the another software which you will be using on a daily basis, Outlook, Microsoft Outlook. Now you may say, oh, what is Outlook? It's just an email. Well, it's not only email. There are 10 different things you can do in Outlook. You can make your appointments, you can follow up, you can flag your emails, you can tag your emails, you can mark, flag. There are so many things in Outlook you can do to perform your job better. So you should buy or go through some YouTube videos and tutorials how to get better at Outlook. Communication, yes, very important. When I say, I mean, a lot of people say you need to be having very, very good communication skills in order to succeed in your job. I mean, what does it really mean that when I say your communication skill has to be very, I mean, what does it really mean? Does it really mean speaking very good English? No. Does it mean speaking very glamorous Hindi? No. What does it really mean? It really means that when someone is speaking to you, you listen carefully and understand it. And then when you are speaking, you're speaking carefully and in very, very elaborate and elucidate way that people understand you. That's communication in my definition. Confidentiality, yes, very important. Uh, if you are doing any job, please do not use the names of the clients and give any information to your friends or things like that. Keep it confidential. You can speak at generic level, not any particular ground particular information. Keep learning, very important. uh, that is the only way you can succeed, my dear fellows. Do not stop learning. There are so many things to learn, and when you start doing job in Australia, you will see then ocean of knowledge. And the next slide I will cover with some ATO publications. There is a vast amount of information, like learning tools, videos, commentaries, case laws. It's a lot of information available on ATO's website. The only thing is what really you want to know to do your job, number one, and then second, you do it. Time management again is very important. So if you are working for an accounting firm, the deadlines are very critical. So for example, we are having this 3rd December today. Only few days ago, 25th November passed, which was the last date for lodging of the BAS, quarterly BAS for September 24 quarter. And then 28 days before, which was 28th October, was the last date to do superannuation return for the September quarter. So now these dates are very critical. So you got to make sure that whatever portfolio of clients you are looking and looking after, well, you attend it. So time management is of very, very critical importance. And then, yes, you need to be proactive in whatever you do and taking initiative along with. So the my when I say taking initiative, it means that, for example, you're working in a team of 6 accountants, one manager. So initiative means that if you run into trouble, and if your manager can't solve the problem on the same day in the same meeting, well, you research that problem, come up with solution. That is called taking initiative. Now, these are few publications. uh, the individual tax return instructions, how the GST works, the tax basics, guide for rental property owners. Rental investment properties are very, very common here, very popular. So any tax return you do, there is about 30% chance that tax return may have rental property. Then you have capital gains tax guide for at the personal level. Again, very important. Most of the people are having shares nowadays, crypto. And then obviously sometimes people can sell the investment property or even principal place of it. So these 5 or 6 publications are very, very important. And I think I did mention that I will cover something in the next slide. Let me go through. Yes, I think I have covered that part as well. So that's pretty much from my side. Ashwini, I think I'm well within my time of 45 minutes. Now I will take up the questions which 2, 3 questions they have asked. So the first question was how to start, how to get into this thing. Whether you contact directly the accounting firm here, or that was the question of first three people, right? Well, there are, as I said, there are 2 3 different scenarios where you can start your journey as far as Australian accounting is concerned. Number one, any CA firm in India who is already doing Australian accounting firm's job, you can join them. That's number one. That's the easiest one, right? Second is that you have your own firm and you have your own employees, and now you want to provide your services to an accounting firm in Australia. That's the second question, second scenario. In that case, it is little bit I'm not saying impossible. It is little bit difficult in the sense then you have to find someone whom do you know. That's the starting point. I mean, if you send your, let's put it this way, if you simply send your profile to any accounting firm here, the chances are the chances of getting that job from accounting firm is very bare minimum. I wouldn't rule it out completely for mathematical reasons, but chances are very minimum. So you better need to find someone whom do you know and then living in Australia, because now a lot of people from Indian descent, Indian background are settled in Australia. So in that case, what you need to do? So find someone, your acquaintance, friend, relative who is living in Australia for some time. Doesn't matter if he is an accountant or not, doesn't matter. So he is your first point of contact, acquaintance here. So ask him that I have started this, and then how do I market? Can you please connect me to your accountant or someone whom do you know as an accounting firm in your area, or something like that. He may be able to connect you with that accounting firm. That's two. Third option, which is again little bit less likely, and that is at individual level, not at a firm level, is that you want to apply a job not in accounting firm here in Australia, but in a company, corporate sector. And I have heard that a lot of companies in Australia, they have hired employees in Philippines. Of late, Philippines has become hotspot for Australian accounting industry. Uh, but again, the starting point is that you got to find someone whom do you know. Otherwise, simply sending the resume is less likely to work. So I think I have answered the first question pretty much. And the second question was, how do we set up IT issues and all those things? I think what we need to do, that you need to establish that you have got IT systems in place that, number one, is very difficult to breach your data. It is very difficult to hack your system. That's one part. So means your data is safe and protected. That's one. Number two, not only from the hackers. Number two is, how is your data safe from employees point of view, in the sense that what is the chances that your employee can copy the data and misuse it later on? That is also abuse of the data. So some of the bigger BPOs in I think I have heard one in two in Mohali and then lot of in Ahmedabad. So they don't even allow their employees to take phone inside the room where they work. So outside the room, there's a place they need to put their phones, deposit the phones in some, whatever locker or whatever cupboard. When they are working on the desks, they do not have access to their phone. So copying of file or that's almost impossible. And then in that room there are cameras operating, and then those cameras make sure that he or she is not doing anything wrong, anything inconsistent with the systems in place. If you have that much control, that much security control, that much protection of the data in your office, then you can present to the Australian accounting firm that's saying that, okay, we got that much checks and balances in our office, and then your data will not be breached, will not be compromised. Then it should be all right. I mean, you just need to show evidence, something that you have got systems in place, you have taken enough care that data is safe. That's all. Thank you very much, Ashni, and all the other participants. Sakshi, now Sakshi will be taking over, and in the meantime, we can take. We can take. I think we got 5-7 minutes left for my part. We can take around 3 to 5 questions, Ashni, depending upon how long are the questions. Thank you.
हैंड रेज ही करवा लेता हूँ मैं।
Yes.
हम बस 2-3 क्वेश्चन लेंगे, ओनली 1 क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम 1 पर्सन। आफ्टर द क्वेश्चन वी विल म्यूट हिम।
Hmm.
रोहित गर्ग का पहला क्वेश्चन है जी। हाँ जी रोहित जी पूछिए। रोहित गर्ग जी।
Hi, Navneet sir.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
Sir, do you have a vacancy?
क्या पूछा इसने?
डू यू हैव द वैकेंसी?
वो आप देखो, रेज्यूमे भेज दो, फिर वो मेरे ऑफिस में जो लड़का सारा ऑपरेशनल मैनेजर है वो फिर आप ही विल गेट बैक टू यू, रोहित।
इसके लिए हम सेपरेटली प्रोग्राम करेंगे। दिस प्रोग्राम इज फॉर अपस्किलिंग, like interaction with the Indian CAs working in foreign countries. We will have a separate program after 7th. हाँ जी उपासना जी।
सर मेरा नवनीत जी से एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि थोड़ा माइग्रेशन के बारे में भी बताएं कि आज के टाइम पे सीए कैसे माइग्रेट कर सकते हैं। एंड
माइग्रेशन के लिए उपासना जी आप उसमें ना एक बार मेरे को सेपरेटली भेज दें। मेरे ख्याल में माइग्रेशन के लिए ना हम सेपरेट कर देंगे।
ओके। एंड सर
प्रोग्राम
मेरी आपसे भी एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि कुछ ऐसा कोई ग्रुप या बनवाएं हमारा इस रीजन में कि हम एक कम्युनिटी की तरह अप्रोच कर सके आगे वर्क
उसमें ना
आउटपुट।
पता क्या बात है, मैंने ग्रुप को एडमिन ओनली इसलिए रखा है कि अदरवाइज ना उसमें चिट चैट शुरू हो जाती है। अभी सिर्फ इंफॉर्मेशन आती है आपको।
हाँ जी।
द पर्पज इज ओनली दिस। ये भी आप एक आधी कोई पोस्ट देख रहे हैं मेरी इलेक्शनों वाली, वो भी टिल 7th है। और दैट्स टू मैं उन ग्रुपों में बहुत कम डालता हूँ, क्योंकि उसमें पता क्या होता है, आपस में नॉन रेलिवेंट चैट शुरू हो जाती है।
सर या फिर हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट को कोई ऐसा करना चाहिए कि
तो
जहाँ पे
उसके लिए
अप्रोच कर सके
आफ्टर द
डायरेक्टली।
इलेक्शन आई विल नॉट नेम एनीबॉडी। आफ्टर द इलेक्शन आई विल टेल द पर्सन टू whom यू शुड अप्रोच।
क्योंकि सर मैंने एक्चुअली सीपीए ऑस्ट्रेलिया भी की थी, बट एक तो उसमें मुझे कोई प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपोजर मिला नहीं, और बाद में उसकी मेंबरशिप फीस इतनी हाई थी कि उस टाइम मैं उसको अफोर्ड नहीं कर पा रही थी, तो फिर मेरे को गिव अप ही करनी पड़ी अपनी वजह से।
उसके लिए ना मैं आपको आफ्टर 7th इंस्टीट्यूट लेवल पे भी कुछ चल रहा है, वी विल डिस्कस लेटर। मैं आई एम नॉट अवेयर अबाउट द फुल थिंग्स, बट देयर इज समथिंग रिगार्डिंग एक ऑस्ट्रेलियन सीपीए वालों ने भी हमें कोऑर्डिनेट किया था फॉर द प्रोग्राम्स। तो वो सारा कुछ ना मैं 7th के बाद काफी चीजें प्लान करूंगा, क्योंकि अभी तो टाइम नहीं है। मेरे पास कल का और परसों का डे है, तो उसके बाद फिर मैं ना 7th के बाद आई विल प्लान मैनी प्रोग्राम्स।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
हाँ जी उसके बाद हाँ जी हिमिज खन्ना जी।
Evening, sir.
हाँ जी।
Sir, my question is that as I'm doing my own practice from last 15 years, so I is not possible for me to do any job or somewhere. So is there any opportunity I can do an internship somewhere? I can apply for the internship for 6 months or 7
इंटर्नशिप सर, दिस इज नॉट द प्लेटफॉर्म। वी विल टेल, वी विल कनेक्ट इन अनदर प्रोग्राम। आप मेरे बाकी ग्रुपों में जुड़े होंगे जहाँ पे जनरल सेमिनार्स आते रहते हैं। We will interact there.
Okay. And
हाँ जी, प्रतीक श्रीवास्तव जी, नेहा गर्ग जी, नेहा गर्ग जी, अनमोल गोयल,
हेलो।
हाँ जी,
Hi,
हाँ
sir.
जी सर, आई विश टू आस्क सीपीए इज बेटर और एसीसीए इज बेटर?
नहीं, एसीसीए तो इंग्लैंड में है ना। यहाँ
ओके।
पर यहाँ पर या तो सीए एएनजेड है जो कि सीए है, या सीपीए है, तो दोनों में से कोई भी कर लो।
हाँ जी, नैन्सी जी,
Hello,
हाँ
sir.
जी।
Uh, जी, sir, my question is that how much do we get from an Australian accounting?
ऑस्ट्रेलियन अकाउंटिंग में अगर इंडिया से रह के काम करना है कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया आके काम करना है, दोनों चीजों में बहुत फर्क है।
नहीं, इंडिया से ही सर, मतलब एवरेज मेरे ख्याल में, इफ आई एम रॉन्ग काइंडली करेक्ट मी, बिटवीन 60 to 90,000।
At least 60,000. Six. I don't think any. I don't know any of my friend or even our own firm that we paid anyone less than 60,000
But it
to
varies to
begin with.
up to 90 or 1,000, 1 lakh, depending on the
Easily,
person.
easily, easily 70, 80, 85, 90 easily within 2 years.
That is for 5 day work.
हाँ जी,
5 day working.
5 day work, yes, 40 hours.
Yes, yes. Okay जी। हाँ जी,
6 days working only in India.
अदिति जी, आपका हो गया क्वेश्चन? हाँ जी, गुरसिमरन कौर जी, गुरसिमरन कौर,
हेलो।
हेलो।
हाँ जी, गुरसिमरन कौर, हाँ जी।
हाँ जी सर, so sir, I have cleared CPA Australia recently. So what are the licenses requirement to hold the practice certificate in Australia?
ज्योति जी, आपका म्यूट है, आपका म्यूट है नवनीत जी। अच्छा, ओके, एक मिनट, गुरसिमरन जी, आपका क्वेश्चन का करते हैं रिप्लाई। इसके बाद वी विल स्टार्ट विद साक्षी सेशन। तो मेरे ख्याल में लगता है 10-15 मिनट वी विल कंटिन्यू, मतलब हमें सेशन कंटिन्यू करना पड़ेगा। तो जो नवनीत जी का वी विल कंक्लूड बाय 5:30 मैक्सिमम।
Ashwini, Rajesh, our dear friend Rajesh Nand is trying to come to the seminar. He's saying that Ashwini is not allowing me in.
ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਇਹ। ਚਲੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰੋ ਸਰ, क्वेश्चन ਦਾ ਰਿਪਲਾਈ ਕਰੋ, ਲੜਕੀ ਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ।
So सीपीए ऑस्ट्रेलिया का जो आपका क्वेश्चन है कि प्रैक्टिस कैसे करनी है, अश्विनी,
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, यही था। पता नहीं, कुछ क्वेश्चन यही था। मैं एक मिनट उनको
उन्होंने
म्यूट कर।
उनका मैं जस्ट
हाँ जी, हाँ
डबल
जी,
चेकिंग।
गुरसिमरन जी, आप दोबारा पूछिए क्वेश्चन अपना।
हाँ जी सर, so I have recently cleared my CPA Australia, so I just want to hold a practice certificate. So what are the licenses requirement over there?
मुझे लगता है कि वो आप अभी हो इंडिया में,
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
तो वो एक उसका एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म है। इट हैज टू बी एंडोर्स्ड बाय आई थिंक 1 or 2 persons, ओनली देन यू शुड बी एबल टू स्टार्ट, ओनली देन यू कैन होल्ड सीपीपी।
नवनीत जी,
ओनली लास्ट 2 क्वेश्चन, अनमोल गोयल एंड ज्योति कौशिक।
राजेश आनंद आल्सो।
अनंत
वेरी
साहब, तो क्वेश्चन नहीं हैगा, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ स्पीच है, रुक जाओ 2 मिनट।
वेरी नाइस टू सी यू
नहीं
माय
नहीं,
डियर
मैं बंद
राजेश।
करता ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ स्पीच है, 1 मिनट बाद कराने हैं। अनमोल गोयल ਤੇ ज्योति
ਨਵਨੀਤ ਜੀ, ਏਦਾਂ ਹੈ,
कौशिक।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਦੇ ਚੁੱਕੇ, ਜਿੰਦਲ ਜੀ ਇੰਨੇ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਦਵਾ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਮ ਕੁਮ ਵੀ ਦਵਾ ਦਿਓ, ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਦਾ ਖੋਲ ਦਿਓ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਫਿਸ। लोगों का इतना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, वेले बैठे हैं। यू शुड ऑल हेल्प देम आउट। साक्षी को बोलो कि नए यहाँ पे सेटअप क्रिएट करे और ऑस्ट्रेलिया में आप मार्केटिंग करो काम करने के लिए।
अच्छा,
अनाज साहब, वो भी एजेंडा है, वो भी डिस्कस करते हैं।
नहीं, वो एजेंडा नहीं है, इलेक्शन के बाद तो भूल जाना हमने सब।
नहीं नहीं नहीं, और ज्योति जी के साथ वो फरवरी का एजेंडा है, फरवरी का।
नहीं, ज्योति जी को छोड़ दो, साक्षी से कराओ काम। साक्षी करने वाली लगती है, मैंने सुना है इसको पूरा।
अनमोल जी, 1 मिनट, क्वेश्चन ले लें, 2 ज्योति जी के रिलेटेड है, अनमोल गोयल एंड ज्योति कौशिक।
हाँ जी।
आपका हैंड रेज है जी, क्वेश्चन आपका?
दोनों ऑस्ट्रेलिया से साक्षी
मेरे ख्याल में ज्योति
Ashwini
जी नहीं है। बाकी
is
क्वेश्चन लेने हैं आपने, या फिर मतलब इसको कंक्लूड करके साक्षी के शुरू कराएं?
हाँ, तो we are just in time now. I think we can do Sakshis now.
हाँ जी। आई नाउ आनंद
But
ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਹੁਣ
Anand
ਤੁਸੀਂ
Saab,
ਬੋਲਣਾ ਤਾਂ 1 ਮਿੰਟ ਬੋਲੋ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨਾ ਸਾक्षी ਦਾ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ।
देखो जी इतना है, मेरा पर्पज सिर्फ इतना है कि इंस्टेड ऑफ लर्निंग ऑनलाइन वी शुड स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑनलाइन। और ये चीज इलेक्शन तो बाद ही होएगी, 8 तरीक तो बाद, वो भी जोर शोर ना करिए ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਕੰਮ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਿੰਦਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਤੇ ਸੰਜੇ ਅਗਰਵਾਲ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜਿੱਤ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ।
ਨਾ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਨੋ 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 ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਕੋਡ ਆਫ ਕੰਡਕਟ। ਆਨੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਊਟ ਕਰਤਾ। ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਨੋਟ ਦੀ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਟੂ ਸਪੀਕ।
अच्छा चलो इतना हम नहीं स्पीक करते हैं,
ਨਾਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ।
बट माय पॉइंट इज कि वी शुड स्टार्ट सम एक्सरसाइज टुवर्ड्स प्रैक्टिकल ट्रेनिंग, प्रैक्टिकल काम ਕਰਨ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੰਦੇ, ਉਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਓਪਰਚੁਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਮਿਲਣ, ਇੰਸਟੈਂਟ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਜੋਤੀ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਸੁਣੀ ਜਾਈਏ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੋਤੀ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਸੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਵੀ। So whatever he is doing now there, something should be implemented in practice.
ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਕਸ਼ੀ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕਰਵਾਏ ਆ, 6 ਡੇਜ਼ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
ਸਾਕਸ਼ੀ
ਅਗੇਨ
ਜੀ
ਵੀ ਵਿਲ
ਇੱਥੇ
ਸਟਾਰਟ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਕਸ਼ੀ ਜੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੀ ਬਿਲੋਂਗਸ ਟੂ ਇੰਡੀਆ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂ।
ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ।
नहीं फर्स्ट राजपुरा, नाउ इन गुड़गांव।
Oh very nice, Gurgaon is a nice place.
Yeah.
ਚਲੋ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ
तो
ਸਾਕਸ਼ੀ ਜੀ, ਮੇਰਾ ਪਰਪਸ ਸਮਝ ਗਏ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹਾ ਹੂੰ, ਮਤਲਬ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੰਮ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ।
नहीं ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਕਰਵਾਓਗੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ। ਚਲੋ ਆਨੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਜੀ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰਕੇਸ਼ ਕਈ ਦੀ ਫਿਲਮ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਦੀ ਗੈਸਟ ਅਪੀਅਰੈਂਸ, ਉਹ ਆਨੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਦੇਣੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ,
ਨਾਮ ਹੈਗਾ
ਤੇ ਉਹ ਗੈਸਟ ਅਪੀਅਰੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਆਨੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ।
ਕਈ
ਆਨੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਕਤਾ, ਇਹ ਜਰਾ ਪ੍ਰਮੋਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਨੂੰ, ਤੇ ਪਰਪਸ ਤਾਂ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰਮੋਟ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਬਟ ਇਨਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆਨੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ।
thank you
ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ji.
ਓਵਰ ਟੂ ਸਾਕਸ਼ੀ ਜੀ।
Thank you. Sakshi, please take
It's a
over
time
now.
to listen Sakshi ji. She is doing practically the Australian work. She will guide about the modules and in
जिंदल जी
detail.
और राकेश का ही नहीं, सुभाष का ही है,
सुभाष के
Thank
हाँ
you.
जी साक्षी जी।
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jyoti sir, for such a great presentation and explaining our young chartered accountants about the opportunities and Australian accounting and taxation. Continuing with where Jyoti sir left, I would be discussing about mainly the Zero software, how we work in the software, what are the basic or main modules. I'll cover that. Before that, I'll share a short presentation. And from my presentation, most of the things have been already covered by Jyoti sir. So I'll just give a quick overview of it. Yeah. So it's mainly regarding the Australian accounting and taxation concepts. Most of them are already covered by sir. Just a quick overview. Like we have 2 Australian accounting bodies and accounting and taxation bodies. They are ATO and ASIC. ATO is just like the income tax office in India, where we file our income tax, the GST, and the business registration is done with the ATO. And next is ASIC. It's just similar to MCA in India, where whenever a company is to be registered, it is to be registered with the ASIC. Then all the financial services, they are governed by ASIC, and the registration of a business name, that is also governed by the ASIC. Next comes few of the accounting and taxation terms. Number 1 is ABN, Australian business number. Each and every business is supposed to have an ABN. The business can be a sole proprietor business, a partnership business, or a trust. Any business, a company, they have to have an Australian business number. Next is the TFN, that is a tax file number. It's similar to PAN in India. This is a confidential number, TFN. Next is ACN, Australian company number. Each and every company has a separate ACN. The company has the ABN also, as well as the ACN. Next is fuel tax credit. this is discussed in detail by sir already. It's just that we get the credit for the fuel tax amount included in the price of the fuel that is used for business purposes, for traveling off public roads or on private roads, and for use in house, like for the use of machinery, plant and equipment. So it is a great benefit to the businesses that they get the credit or the refund from the ATO for the amount of fuel tax that is included in the price of the fuel. And the fuel tax rates, they change regularly, and those updated rates are available on the ATO website. Then next is mainly GST. GST is a flat 10% rate on all the goods and services that are consumed in India, or sorry, in Australia, except a few, we can say, areas where GST is not levied, like the bank fees and the charges, and except the merchant fees. Whenever there is a bank fee that is a merchant fee, on that GST is applicable. Other bank fees, there is no GST. And next is the payments to the ASIC. Every company is to be registered with the ASIC, or every business has to get their registration done with the ASIC. So on an yearly basis, they pay the ASIC registration fees or the filing fees. So on those fees, there is no GST. Then rent on residential property. Then primary products like milk, bread, fruits, vegetables, water, oil, spices, there is no GST. And all the payments to the government bodies like stamp duty and water rates. Then fines and donations. So this is just a brief of GST, where GST is levied and where it is not. It is completely unlike India, where we have lots of GST rates and lots of rules and regulations. Here it is a flat rate of 10%, and it's just simple that GST will be levied or not levied. Simple. Yeah, next is, these are already discussed by sir, PAYGW, that is pay as you go tax withheld. It is similar to TDS in India, that is the taxes we deduct on the wages of the employees. Then PAYGI, similar to advanced tax in India, just like sir said. Then is the superannuation. It is a money that is placed in a fund to provide for a person's retirement. Like superannuation is of two types: super for employers and the super for individuals. Super for employers means every employer has to make sure that 11.5%, this is the current rate, 11.5% of the employees' ordinary time earnings, like ordinary wages, 11.5% of that amount is taken out separately and deposited in the employee superannuation fund. So this is an obligation to be met by the employer. And there is a super for individuals, where the individuals, by their own, they save for their retirement by depositing it in their super fund. This is thus like a provident fund in India. There it is, superannuation. Next is BAS. As sir discussed, we lodge the GST, PAYGW, PAYGI, and other taxes to the ATO in the form of a BAS. This can be lodged monthly, quarterly, or annually. Then ICA. This is a statement that is generated from the ATO portal, and it shows the taxes payable and paid to the ATO, or the refunds or the grants that we have received. So it includes the GST, PAYGW, and PAYGI. Next is ITA. It is an income tax account statement. This is also generated from the ATO portal, which shows the income tax paid or refunds received from the ATO. So if we talk about the indirect taxes like GST, PAYGW, or PAYGI, they are reported or they are shown in ICA, and income tax is shown in ITA. Then we have another concept of IAS. This is the installment activity statement. It is a statement generated from the ATO portal when an employer has to lodge the PAYG on monthly basis. When it is done on a quarterly basis, then it is included in BAS. And if it is done on a monthly basis, then it is included in IAS. Mainly were these basic concepts. Now we will move on to zero, which is the main topic of the day. And zero, these are the main things that we learn in zero, like adding an organization, what is the dashboard, chart of accounts, contacts, invoices and bills, bank reconciliation, then payroll, fixed asset register, manual journals, reports, and previous year balances, inventory and financials preparation. Sir has given a small overview of all these points already. Considering the time constraint, I will discuss a few of these points. Like it will be done now. Yeah. So, yes. This is how zero looks like. This I'm using a trial version. This is just a gist of what I'll be sharing. Like 4 to 5 main points about zero, how we work in zero. Otherwise, the detail we can discuss some other day if we are planning to have some other sessions. See, now I have set up a trial pack. We can log into the trial pack very easily. See, if you enter it in Google zero, click here, try zero for free. Just click on this, enter all the details, and you will get a free trial for 30 days. I'm using this trial as of now just to guide you. Okay, so after the trial is set up, I have chosen a business account. We have the option to choose or start with a bank account. Just like sir said that, just like sir said that the bank account, you can have any number of bank accounts like Punjab National Bank or State Bank of India. Similarly, in Australia, we have many banks like ANZ and Commonwealth Bank of Australia, to name a few. So I have chosen the ANZ Bank and I have named it as a business account, which is the day-to-day account. So every business account, if I show you over here also, bank accounts, let me give you a small overview of this, like add a bank account, okay? Yeah, search here, which bank account do you want? Like earlier I have chosen ANZ, we can choose Commonwealth Bank of Australia. It is called the CBA. I have chosen this. Now you can automatically connect your bank with like zero, the bank in zero with your main bank, and you can have the bank feed. Just like sir said that when it is 2 or 3 a.m. in Australia, you get all the bank transactions auto-populated in your zero file for like by 2 or 3 a.m. All the transactions that happened the day before, you can get them in your zero file by 2 or 3 a.m. This is done when we link our bank with the zero file. So that is called an automatic bank feed. Okay, but in this case, I have not taken up automatic bank feeds. See, we have the option to get bank feeds. What I have done, I have imported the transactions using a CSV file, and now my bank looks like this. Yeah. So a bank has, we have these three options which say reconcile, bank statement, and account transactions. When I imported them, now 83 transactions are pending to be reconciled, and these are all the transactions which show as unreconciled, and here they show as imported. If I go to account transactions, it shows only those transactions that are reconciled. I did just 4 of these. Otherwise, 83 are pending, which I wanted to show you. Yeah, I'll show you a few transactions, how we reconcile them. So I have taken the period from July to September 24, just to let you know that in Australia, the financial year is from July to June. So I have taken the first quarter of the financial year. My transactions are from July 24 to September 24. Now, if I look at this transaction, account servicing fee, it is the bank fee. Okay, So for reconciling the bank, these two are important, who and what. What refers to the chart of account, like the account code where this transaction should go. It means whether it is a bank fee, it is a cleaning expense, it is an income, or it is an expense, or it is a purchase of a fixed asset, or is it a loan. So we have to put it over here. What means the account code and who is the name of the contact. When we put these two transactions, these two values, only then we can reconcile it. Description is optional, but it is very important that we enter the description as well. Okay, before this, let me show you the chart of accounts. Yeah, we have, before that, we have these all options in zero. Dashboard. Dashboard is over here. Dashboard gives you an overview of your business. Like here, it is business account. All the bank accounts will be shown over here. Then invoices owed to you. All the invoices that you have to pay. It means your aged payables. Oh, sorry. Invoices owed to you means the invoices that are the amounts that you have to receive that are awaiting payment. So those are shown here. Bills you need to pay, all the aged payables will be shown over here. Then this is the accounts watch list. All the accounts like profit and loss, important accounts like sales, purchases, repair and maintenance expense. So all those watch list will come over here. Then here it will show expense claims. So dashboard is an overview of your business. Next comes business. Here business, in this option, we have these few things to be done like invoices, bills to pay. We generally use these options in small and medium business where we have to enter our invoices, that is the aged receivables, and bills to pay refer to the aged payables. Then comes the accounting. Accounting, we have main these three. These are bank accounts, reports, and advanced. This I'll show you a little later. When we click on advanced, it's better if we open it in the new tab. So these are the advanced settings. Whenever you will click on this star, you will mark this star, you can see all these on over here. See advanced star. So these two are marked as star, fixed assets and chart of accounts. So these will be shown over here. If I click this also as tax rate will also come over here. So mainly are these three things. From reports also, the reports that are marked as star, they are shown over here. And from advanced, which are marked as star, are shown over here. Yeah. Now we were going to chart of accounts. This is how the chart of accounts looks. Firstly, we have the income side. First, before that, we have the bank side. When we are doing all the bank transactions in zero, then the bank generally does not have any code. We do not choose any account code for the bank because it is a bank. Okay. Then is the income transactions or the income account codes. These generally start from 200. It is, we can change these numbering also. It is just a common way or a default way that zero usually picks. But we can change these numberings as well. So the sales, other revenue, interest income. So these are the three revenue accounts. If I want to enter any other income account, where will I go? I will go here, add account, account type. I will choose here revenue. Then I will enter a unique code. Like I have 200, 260. I'll choose between this 210. And I can write here sales blueberries. If the person is dealing in sale of blueberries. Okay, so save. Okay. Yeah. So in this way, we can add a bank, any account in the chart of account, whatever we need. Next is the expenses heads. Similarly, we can add an expense account. Then we have the current assets. Then we have inventory. We have fixed assets, current liability, and then non-current liability, and then the equity accounts. This is a small chart of account which is default in 0. We can add any number of accounts in this. Okay. Next, going to bank reconciliation. So now this is account servicing fee. This is a bank fee or bank charges, and this is GST free. Just like I told in my presentation few minutes back that bank fees is always GST free other than the merchant fee. Okay. Now let me go and have a look if in my chart of accounts, if I have bank fees. Yes, I have the bank fees. It is expense. It is a GST free expense. Okay. So here I'll write, here I can write either account servicing fee or I can write the name of the bank, account fee, click on new contact, choose bank fees. Bank fees, this is GST free expense. Click on OK. This is done. We did not enter any description because it was already there over here. Okay. Now, if I go to account transactions and look for it, see, I did just this one, account fee. So the name that I have written in this who column, it shows like this in the description, as this is the name that I had entered in the who section. So entering this who is very important, and this should be done with quite care so that we can easily search over here. Because see, what we do in Australia is we generally prepare our BAS on a quarterly basis until unless the organization has a good or a high revenue where the BAS is done on a monthly basis. Even if we do the things on a monthly basis, these few transactions are just recurring transactions. They repeat every month, like the telephone bill, the electricity, and the purchases, the sales. They are recurring in nature. So if we have done 1 month accounting or we have done 1 month reconciliation and we want to refer this previous month, suppose I have done July, now I'm doing for the August month. And in August month, some narration has come, like I'll show you over here. Yeah, okay. See, ANZ internet banking, BPay, Telstra bill payment. Now, what is the meaning of Telstra? Telstra is the telephone company over here in Australia, telephone and the internet company. Okay, so if I go over here and I search, suppose you don't know what is Telstra. I search over here Telstra. It will not come because I have not yet done it. Okay, now I'll do this transaction. Yeah, Telstra. See, Xero is automatically taking it because Xero knows it. Because I have done this many a times before as well. So Xero remembers it. That is why it has taken Telstra as the contact name and the account code, telephone and internet, GST on expense. Okay. Now, next time when you are doing this reconciliation and you again find Telstra, you can go over here. I'll reload it and search Telstra. Okay, I found Telstra. Click on it. See where did I code it? I coded it to telephone and internet. So yeah, this is a very big reference and an easy way to do the transactions. So it is important that the name of the contact should be correct. Okay, let's do a few other transactions. Next is Visa debit purchase, TPG internet. So this is also internet in Australia. Okay, so I'll write here TPG internet as new contact. Click on this and write here telephone and internet. These all the account codes will come in this what column only and only when they are added over here. Whenever you need a new account, first add it over here in chart of accounts and then refresh this and you will be able to see the account code over here. You can just click the drop down and check all the accounts also. Otherwise, just write over here like this. Telephone and internet when you know the name and just click on OK. Okay. Next is POS FPOS. This is the money received in the bank and this is the money received through the FPOS, just like the swipe machine. So this is the sales because there almost all the transactions are done through bank. Very less cash transactions are there, and whenever they have cash transactions, the owner of the business makes sure that he deposits the cash on timely basis in his bank account for all the amount that is received in cash. Okay, so this is FPOS. I did it earlier, so it is showing me as a suggestion that FPOS is sales, GST on income. Okay, my business name is Mehta Clothing Pty. So Mehta Clothing, it is a clothing business, and on clothing business, when we sell clothes in Australia, it has GST on it. Okay, so that is why on income we are taking up GST. Then this is again FPOS, sales, GST on income. Then cash deposit. Now this is the cash deposit. It is a rule that we should first ask the client, what did he deposit this amount for? What is this amount that is deposited in the bank? Mainly, most of the times, this cash deposit is the amount that the client has collected his sale as cash. Like cash sales, the client collects the amount for a week for all the cash sales and goes to the bank and deposits that in his bank account. So this is also the sale. Cash deposit, new, and right here, sales. GST on income. Okay. Now this is a repetitive FPOS sales. Okay, okay. Now this is zero AU. Now this is the fees paid to Zero for using this software. So it is a subscription because Zero charges you on a monthly basis for the software you are using. So coded to subscription, tax rate is GST on expenses. Okay. So in this way, you can reconcile your bank on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. Because by today, I will be able, when your bank is linked to your Zero file, your main bank is linked to your this Zero file, you will get all the transactions on timely basis and you can reconcile your transactions on daily basis as well. So this is one part of bank reconciliation. The other was the chart of accounts. Next is a payroll. So payroll is when we maintain the employees' details, all the details of their employment, of their working hours, and everything is maintained in the software, and we generate the payroll reports from here. It is just that what we do, we enter the details of the employment of the employee, like number of hours he has worked, what is his hourly wage rate, and each and everything. Superannuation, we enter the superannuation on the super fund details of the employee, and everything then gets calculated automatically. Also, we have an option to do single touch payroll, STP, that sir discussed, which is done. STP is just that the every pay event means every pay run that is done either on a weekly basis or on a fortnightly basis that is submitted to the ATO then and there. Like we pay the fortnightly wages to the employees. As soon as the fortnight ends, wages are paid to the employees and they are reported to the ATO using the single touch payroll system. So we enable the single touch in our Zero. Whenever the pay run is done, we just click on STP button and the wages are reported to the ATO then and there. So it is again done pay event basis. It is not at all like India, where the wages are reported to the government when we file the TDS return after a quarter. We do here also the quarterly filing, but that is quarterly filing. But we have now the option of single touch payroll. This is a recent thing that has started in Australia from like last 3-4 years, where every pay event, like wages are reported weekly or fortnightly to the ATO then and there. Okay. Next is one is contacts, like here. This was the contact that we were entering. Like here I was writing, see here, Coles. Coles, here it comes new contact. I click on new contact is created. Coles, it is Coles Express. Okay. Coles and Coles Express are different. Coles Express is generally fuel. I don't have the code of fuel. For the fuel is generally for the motor vehicles. For the timing, I'll enter it in the head motor vehicle expenses, or we can create a new account code in the name of motor vehicle fuel, and we can code it over there also. Click on OK. See, now if I go to this account transactions once again, see, I have these all: FPOS, merchant fee, FPOS, account fee, TPG internet, cash deposit, Zero, Coles Express, Repco. Now go to contacts, click on all contacts. See, I can see all these contacts here.
साक्षी एक मिनट अनाउंस कर दें इनको, बस मेरे ख्याल में 10-15 मिनट का रह गया, लास्ट में हमने कुछ एक अनाउंसमेंट्स भी करनी है, तो काइंडली स्टे फॉर 15 मिनट्स ओनली.
Okay, sir. Okay, so these are the contacts that are automatically displayed over here. We can add new contacts over here as well. Sorry. Yeah, we can add new contacts from here also. Click on new contact and we can add the contacts. Those can be customers, those can be our suppliers, any contact. Okay, these are the main things about Zero. So one was the bank reconciliation, the payroll, chart of account, contacts, and the last thing that I'll discuss is the reports. Now go to this report section. We can generate all the reports from here. The reports that are marked as star are shown here as favorites. We can see these now, all reports. These are the financial performance reports, which are the budget summary, budget variance, cash summary, business performance. Then financial statements. Financial statements reports are the balance sheet, depreciation schedule, then fixed assets reconciliation, profit and loss account, cash flow statements. Then the payables and the receivables reports, the aged payables, detailed summary receivables. Then we have the payroll reports also. When we prepare the payroll, we can generate all the payroll reports over here, like the payroll summary and the timesheets of all the employees, the superannuation payments. Then these are the projects. We will discuss when we get time later, if we have any class, about the projects as well. Then these are the reconciliations. These are the reconciliation reports, bank reconciliation. Then we have taxes and balances, which is the activity statement mainly that we do. That is the BAS, business activity statement. We can prepare the BAS from here and we can lodge the BAS also over here. So everything is quite simple in Zero. Then we have the general ledger detail and GST reconciliation, trial balance. All these reports you can get from here. Then these are the account transactions. If we click on this report of account transactions, we can get all the account transactions for the complete year or any period that you want from here. Suppose if I search for select all accounts. Select all, and my period is July. Okay, update. We did only few transactions, so the transactions come over here like this. Bank charges, merchant fee, there was one transaction, it shows over here. Bank fees, one transaction. Then this is the bank, business account, all the transactions that we have reconciled up to date, they show over here. Then the GST, all the transactions on which GST is levied or not levied, they are shown over here. Then motor vehicle expenses, one we did Coles Express, other I did Repco. Then these are my sales. This is subscription, telephone and internet. So you can see all the transactions in this account transactions report, and you can edit this report, like all the columns that you want or you do not want, you can choose from here and update your report accordingly. So this was a short overview of Zero, and we can have a complete detailed working of Zero, and we can learn Zero if we plan to have the classes after this. From my side, it's done. Ashwani sir, you can take over.
हेलो।
हाँ जी सर।
हाँ जी, हो गया ओके।
सर ओके,
क्वेश्चन कोई किसी का है तो एक दो क्वेश्चन ले सकते हैं हम। बस ज्यादा से ज्यादा वी विल कंक्लूड बाई 6:10। हैंड रेज तो पुरानी ही है, तो एक बार मैं हैंड सभी लोअर कर रहा हूँ, तो अगर किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन है तो वो हैंड रेज कर लें। हाँ जी, सीमा मदान जी।
हाँ जी सर, गुड इवनिंग।
गुड इवनिंग जी। हाँ जी
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जैसे हमें अगर सीपीए की कहीं से एक ईमेल आईडीज अगर प्रोवाइड हो जाती तो अब हम उनको अप्रोच कर पाते फॉर एन अकाउंटिंग की रिगार्डिंग।
तो वो तो मैंने आपको बताया जी, उसका स्पेसिफिक प्रोग्राम ही करेंगे, क्योंकि देखो ऐसे किसी की मेल आईडी नहीं हम दे सकते। जब वो एग्री करेंगे कि उनको रिक्वायरमेंट है हायरिंग की, देन वी विल शेयर दी यूनिक मेल आईडी, जो वो सेपरेटली बना के देंगे फॉर डिफरेंट पर्पस, जो वो रिक्रूटमेंट पर्पस के लिए। देन वी विल शेयर दैट ईमेल आईडी, तो वहां से वो आपके जितने भी रिज्यूम्स हैं वो एक्सेस कर लेंगे।
ओके सर, ओके,
वो
थैंक यू।
सेपरेट पर्पस बनाएंगे, क्योंकि वो रूटीन वाली आईडी कोई भी नहीं ऐसे देगा ना। हाँ जी
ठीक
हाँ
है,
जी।
ओके, थैंक यू सर।
हाँ हाँ जी, नेक्स्ट जी। हाँ हाँ जी,
Hi,
सोनिया शर्मा जी। हाँ जी।
hi, Sakshi and Ashwani sir. Sakshi, your presentation was really nice. I just want to know how much we get paid. I mean, a rough estimate. We work from
वो
home.
आप वो क्वेश्चन पहले आंसर कर चुके हैं जी, बिटवीन
I
60
think
टू
I
90।
joined late, maybe.
हाँ, 60 to 90, नॉर्मली 60, बट इट मे गो अप टू 90 डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर एंगेजमेंट विद देम एंड योर वर्क एक्सपीरियंस एटसेट्रा। हाँ जी, नेक्स्ट जी, संदीप जी। हेलो। हाँ जी, मयांक जी।
Yes, sir. Thank
अभिनंदन। हाँ जी,
you.
मयांक जी।
Sir, Navneet sir, is it CPA mandatory to get a work from you Australia or CA can
नॉट
continue
नॉट
on?
नॉट एट ऑल सर। बाकी अपने नवनीत जी, नॉट रिक्वायर्ड जी।
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anyone can get work.
हाँ, अभिनंदन, अभिनंदन जी।
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
हाँ जी हाँ जी।
Sir, my question is, if someone is not a Australia CPA, then how can he prepare to be, ready to take the work? Apart from accounting tools, which we can learn, but apart from that, what are the ways that we can learn, kind of the work which we can do for Australia CPA?
वो that we will tell. I already informed in the beginning that after the ICA election we will plan full-fledged course by discussing with the faculty, and then we will let you know. Then Sandeep ji, जसदीप कौर जी।
हेलो।
हाँ जी हाँ जी।
हाँ जी सर, नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार जी। हाँ जी।
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि इसके रिगार्डिंग कोई बुक्स वगैरह बता सकते हो कौन सी हम इंडिया में बैठ के रीड कर सकते हैं, कि जैसे, क्योंकि हमें तो यहाँ पे सीए की है ना, सीपीए की कोई नॉलेज है नहीं हमें।
नहीं, सीपीए के लिए नहीं हम करवा रहे। सीपीए के लिए वी विल अंगेज सेपरेटली। वो सीपीए ऑस्ट्रेलिया वालों ने एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमें कोऑर्डिनेट किया है। दे आर गेटिंग द अप्रूवल्स फ्रॉम देयर बॉडी, एंड अगर वो उनका कंफर्म हो जाता है So then we will do CPA association program also. But this is not for CPA association. This program is exclusively for getting the work done, engaging with the Indian CA firms or abroad CAs while sitting at home or while moving to Australia. इसके लिए हम आपको ना बुक्स, जहाँ कोई रेफरेंस मटेरियल, कौन सी वेबसाइट पे जाना है, जहाँ कोई एडवांस कोर्स वी विल लॉन्च एंड विल लेट यू नो इन द ग्रुप्स.
वो मैंने बताया ना, एटीओ की वेबसाइट पे 5-6 लिंक मैंने बताए हैं, वो पढ़ने पढ़ने चाहिए सबको.
हाँ जी, जतिन सहगल जी.
सर नमस्कार, मेरा साक्षी जी से एक क्वेश्चन है. ये
हाँ
जो हम
जी.
जो आपने दिखाया है, मैं जोहो में थोड़ा सा देखा है. इट इज समथिंग सिमिलर लाइक जोहो, आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, मतलब.
ओके, या
जोहो का साक्षी आप करते हो?
सर मैं करती नहीं हूँ, बट ऐसे है कि जो मोस्टली सॉफ्टवेयर है ना सर, वो सिमिलर ही हैं, क्योंकि बैंक
बट
रिकंसिलिएशन जो है वो तो सब में सिमिलर है, रिपोर्टिंग सिमिलर है. तो
बट
इफ यू नो
चलते हैं
टू और
वहां
थ्री
पे
सॉफ्टवेयर.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, चलते हैं जोहो वगैरह.
सर जोहो नहीं चलता ज्यादा,
तो फिर
नहीं.
चलता नहीं, फिर तो
मेनली
फायदा कोई नहीं
जीरो
ना
और
बात
क्विक
करने.
बुक्स.
फिर देन देयर इज नो नीड फॉर टॉक ना. तो फिर अगर जोहो चलता ही नहीं, वी आर वर्किंग फॉर द ऑस्ट्रेलियन वर्क, इवन दो इट इज सिमिलर, बट यू हैव टू लर्न अबाउट दिस जीरो और क्विक बुक.
या जीरो और क्विक
Mainly
बुक्स चलते हैं.
जीरो, mainly
मेनली
zero,
जीरो
because zero is
वाइडली यूज्ड.
widely used. Yeah.
हम्म.
Then Parth Sachdeva जी.
हेलो, हाँ जी सर, गुड इवनिंग. गुड
हाँ जी.
इवनिंग एवरीवन.
हाँ जी.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि हम जो सीपीए ऑस्ट्रेलिया से है, सीपीए ऑस्ट्रेलिया, क्या वो हम इंडिया से कर सकते हैं? पहला बात. दूसरा ये कि उसको टोटल कितना, क्या टाइमलाइन है, टोटल कितना
सर
टाइम लगता है
सीपीए
सीपीए के लिए?
सीपीए के लिए वी विल डू अ सेपरेट प्रोग्राम. दिस इज फॉर अकाउंटिंग ऑस्ट्रेलियन. फॉर सीपीए वी विल डू अ सेपरेट प्रोग्राम.
ओके.
हाँ,
ओके.
फॉर वो सीपीए परस्यू करने के लिए ना, वी विल एंगेज विद द सीपीए ऑस्ट्रेलिया,
ओके,
इंडियन
बस मुझे वैसे.
इंडियन नोड फॉर देयर नीड, इंडियन नोड ना.
ओके, बस नहीं, इंडिया में रह के सीपीए ऑस्ट्रेलिया की जस्ट डिग्री के बारे में कंफर्म करना था,
वो
लाइक
सर
टोटल
आई
टाइम एंड टोटल कॉस्ट.
आई दिस इज नॉट बिकॉज टाइम कम है, तो वो दे विल टेल हाउ इट इज पॉसिबल.
श्योर श्योर, ठीक है सर.
हाँ जी. उसके बाद विनय गुप्ता जी, देन शालू गुप्ता जी. हेलो शालू गुप्ता. अनुज कुमार.
Yeah,
आप
hi,
पूछिए जी.
good evening. Good
हाँ
evening,
जी.
everyone. So I've read somewhere various people hold QuickBooks and Zero certification. So they write on their profiles. So how do we get that?
दैट आई विल टेल यू. उसका एक प्रॉपर प्रोसीजर है. तो किसी हम मतलब इन फ्यूचर वी विल, व्हेन वी विल हैव अ डिटेल डिस्कशन ऑन दिस, दैट आई विल टेल यू हाउ यू कैन गेट द सर्टिफिकेशन.
Okay, thank you.
या
अनुज कुमार. हाँ जी.
And do we exposure for QuickBooks in Australia?
सॉरी, आई
आपकी
डिडंट गेट योर
वॉइस
क्वेश्चन.
वॉइस क्लैरिटी नहीं है जी.
अभी आ रही है सर?
हाँ जी.
Now I'm living in Australia.
नहीं, नहीं आ रही जी, नहीं आ रही, नहीं आ रही. आप लिख के नहीं, पर लिख
I'll
के
write
ले
it
आओ.
down ना.
हाँ
हेलो
जी, अदिति जैन जी.
सर, माय क्वेश्चन इज कि सीपी करना जरूरी है क्या? इट नीड टू
नहीं नहीं
गेट.
नहीं जी, जरूरी, वो पहले भी आंसर कर चुके हैं. सीपीए का इसके कोई लिंक नहीं. ये तो आपने अपने फ्रेंड्स, रिलेटिव या नॉन पर्सन से ही काम ढूंढना है. इफ यू नो दी वर्क यू कैन डू इट.
ओके सर.
संदीप कुमार जी. दामिनी सैनी सैनी. हाँ जी. हेलो दामिनी एंड देन ज्योति. These are the
Hello.
two last questions, then we will conclude.
Hello.
हाँ जी.
Hi, everyone.
हाँ जी.
Ma'am, and sir, can you please share your PPT with us?
शेयर कर सकते हैं कि नहीं जी? आपका राइट, दैट वी विल डिस्कस विद द फैकल्टी जी, देन वी विल लेट यू. हाँ जी, ज्योति जी.
हाँ
ज्योति
जी.
जी बोल रहे थे.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
ओके जी. वी विल लेट यू नो जी, अगर फैकल्टी शेयर करना चाहेंगे, ये इनका एब्सोल्यूट राइट है जी. हाँ जी, दामिनी सैनी जी। मेरे ख्याल में नहीं है, तो वी विल कंक्लूड दिस सेशन। जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि हमारा पर्पस सिर्फ आपको अपस्किल करना है। हमने मैसेज में भी क्लियर किया था कि हम कोई झूठा वादा नहीं कर रहे कि जी आपको जॉब दिला देंगे। हम तो एफर्ट कर सकते हैं कि ऑस्ट्रेलियन सीए, यूके सीए, कैनेडियन सीए, कि उनके साथ कोऑर्डिनेट करें और आपको एक ब्रिज बन के प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेके आए कि अगर उनको कोई रिक्वायरमेंट है तो वो आपसे बायोडाटा रिज्यूमे आपके मंगवा के एट ए प्लेटफॉर्म, तो वो आपके साथ अंगेज हो सके। दैट वी विल ट्राई। लास्ट टाइम भी हमने ट्राई किया था नवनीत ज्योति जी ने और अदर फर्म्स के साथ, ऑस्ट्रेलियन फर्मों के साथ। तब हमारे बिटवीन 30 to 50 सीएज डायरेक्टली एंगेज हुए थे और इसके अलावा इनडायरेक्टली काफी एंगेज हुए थे। उसके अलावा हमने एडवांस कोर्सेज भी करवाए थे ताकि वो आप उसको लर्निंग को सीख सको कि कैसे करना है। 6 डेज के कोर्स से अबाउट 3 आवर्स डेली, 20 आवर्स में हमने आपको जीरो के जितने भी मॉड्यूल्स हैं उनके बारे में आपको एडवांस लर्निंग कराई थी। बट दैट वाज चार्जेबल विद स्मॉल फीस टू बी पेड टू द फैकल्टी। वो चीजें बात की हैं, जब फैकल्टी कोई तैयार होगी करने के लिए देन वी विल लेट यू नो इन द ग्रुप्स एंड दैट विल बी प्लान्ड लेटर ऑन। और उसके अलावा और भी ऑस्ट्रेलियन, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया सीपीए वालों ने कुछ कोऑर्डिनेट हमारे साथ किया है, तो उसका भी प्रोग्राम हम आगे आगे आपको बताएंगे। और भी जितने भी और कोई हम वेंचर स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं और कर सकते हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया की के बाद कनाडा की, यूएसए की, यूके की एंड यूएई की, इसके बारे में भी हम वेबिनार लेके आएंगे। और कुछ एक क्वेश्चनों में आया था इमिग्रेशन कैसे जा सकते हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया, उसके लिए इमिग्रेशन का प्रोग्राम हम प्रॉपर लेके आएंगे कि मतलब आप इमिग्रेशन किसी कंसल्टेंट के साथ डील करके कि कैसे आप जा सकते हो, वो शॉर्ट कोर्स प्रोग्राम उसके ऊपर भी लेके आएंगे। तो विद दिस वर्ड्स, थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू नवनीत जी फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस फ्रॉम द ऑस्ट्रेलिया। रादर उनका टाइम अब मेरे ख्याल में वहां पे 10:30-11 हो गया, 11। तो उन्होंने हालांकि 1 घंटा दिया था, मैं 45 मिनट्स, बट 2 घंटे 13 मिनट हो गए हैं। उन्होंने फुल प्रोग्राम ज्वाइन किया। साक्षी जी एंड हमारे जगदीश दमीजा जी, ये भी पानीपत से हैं पैनलिस्ट में, राकेश सोनी जी and other participant at all time high it was 486 and they remain for whole of the program, but after lapse of time many have left, although there was announcement like this कि आप ग्रुप में जरूर बने रहें, क्योंकि जितनी भी इंफॉर्मेशन है वो मैं सिर्फ व्हाट्सएप ग्रुपों में शेयर करूंगा जो मैंने स्पेसिफिक पर्पस कनाडा ओब्लिक ऑस्ट्रेलिया ग्रुप बनाए हैं। और कहीं नहीं शेयर करेंगे। हम यही इंगेज करते हैं कि स्पेसिफिक पर्पस कोई पर्सन कोई, और वो भी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट कोई, वो इंफॉर्मेशन जाए किसी और को ना जाए। दैट इज द पर्पस ओनली। तो दैट्स वाई थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू
Thank
ऑल
you.
फॉर ज्वाइनिंग।